All right, guys, welcome back. This is Scott Matthews here with the one and only OSB Sports Podcast Show. Another great episode. We got an action-packed show going today. I'm joined by two of the top sports analysts in the country. My man, my partner in crime, the one and only Big Kahuna, OSB Sports, Mr. Tommy D. How's it going, Tommy?
Well, Scotty, listen, we got the dog day of summer here. We're just trying to get through it all. A little baseball, little soccer, and cashing some tickets, so no complaints.
Now, we're bringing back on the show with us the one and only CEO of the Sports Profits, Mr. Teddy Brooks. Teddy, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, Scotty, glad to be back. I missed you guys last week. I was out of town, had some truck issues. Truck's still in the shop, but
Everything's good, though?
yeah, I'm going to battle with my dealership right now, but we'll save that conversation for another day. But I'm just happy to be back. I don't want to miss another show. Doing really great with baseball right now, loving some of the things that are going on, some of the stuff that we talked about last time that I was on. A lot of changes have already happened around the league, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But glad to be back.
Well, guys, we got an action-packed show, and we really want to get into it because a lot of talk right now, obviously, about the NFL and things going on there, the running back situation. I don't know if you guys are following, paying close attention to that, but the running backs are getting disrespected around the league.
They're about to go on strike.
Yep.
Wow.
The Giants can't seem to come heads or tails with Saquon Barkley. You got Tony Pollard with the Dallas, hasn't signed. And you got Josh Jacobs with the Raiders, another powerhouse running back. He hasn't signed yet. So a lot of these players, these running backs, they get disrespected right now. But, Tommy, I want to get into some NFL stuff. We had a little topic we were going to discuss about the teams, divisional teams, and how they're going to fare this year. What's your take on that right now? What are you seeing are going to be the powerhouse teams in these different conferences, whether it's the AFC or NFC?
Well, looking at the NFL, let's face it, the season hasn't even started. You got a lot of people that haven't even signed yet. Some people aren't showing up at training camp. When you bet a future bet right now for a divisional win, you got to wait till January to get your money. A lot of stuff can happen. Let's face it. Injuries, no doubt, is the number one thing that could sink your bet on any type of future bet. I don't put a lot on these type of wagers because, A, you got to wait nearly 6 months to get your money, and a lot of stuff can happen. But I'm looking at the AFC East, all right? Normal suspects up there is obviously the Bills. I think the Bills takes the division. I mean, Josh Allen, he made some mistakes last year. Yeah, he had some costly interceptions, but I think he gets his act together. I mean, they brought in a real good draft pick, Dalton Kincaid. That should definitely help out Allen. The odds right now at Caesars, Bills to win the division is plus 125. Nothing to be really shocked about that. The only possible contender there, I think, is the Miami Dolphins. All right, if Tua stays healthy and all. But if you look at the league, that division, the Bills are expected to go over the 10.5 wins, first of all. I see them winning 13 games this year. They're going to be tough to beat. If Allen still stays healthy, Bills win that division. I bet them at Caesars plus $1.25.
I gotta ask Teddy on that because I know Teddy's a big Dolphin fan.
I'm a Dolphin fan, but Tommy, the disrespect for Aaron Rodgers. You didn't even give him a 2 seconds of your time.
No. I mean, listen, he's no doubt coming into town and all, but can he really carry that whole team and beat the Bills?
No, I agree with you. So actually, I was looking at the Bills. MGM has them at 135 points better than the one you mentioned. So that's where I would put my action on that one. But that's neither here nor there. Here's the reason why I don't like the Jets. I love Aaron Rodgers. I think he's going to make a big improvement for the team. But you do have the Dolphins and Tua, who the odds makers put them at third. and so there is good value in the Dolphins
They're
and Tua.
3-1 at Caesars,
Yeah.
plus 300.
But so here's what I didn't like about the Jets. I'm all about line movement. I'm a line movement guy. That's how I make a lot of my money, looking at the lines, looking at the way they moved, and depending on the situation. So situational here, when there were rumors about Rodgers going to the Jets and it wasn't solid, the Jets were sitting around plus 210, 220, 230. Then when it became official, they moved to plus 250. So, like, you would expect them to come down a little bit, not to go up. So that line movement pushes me off of the Jets. And overall, I agree. I think the Bills are going to take it. Josh Allen, a little bit of an
He's a beast.
underperformance last year. I think, there's no question. I think getting a team like that with a quarterback like that at plus money, because most of these big favorites in these divisions are minus something. So to get it at plus money, I think there's value there.
I think the Jets, I'll tell you, I disagree with you guys. I think the Jets are going to be huge this year. I think if you saw Aaron Rodgers today pull up the training camp for day one, he was all business. He didn't wear no costumes like he comes to usually with these crazy hairstyles, and he wears some costumes. He came today dressed in his black T-shirt, pair of shorts, all business. And I just think that he's going to motivate this team. I mean, they got so many weapons. Think about it. They got great receiving. They got a great defense. Now they got an unbelievable quarterback. They haven't had a quarterback of this level in probably 20 years. If you think about it, the Jets is a starting quarterback. I think the Jets are going to make noise in that AFC East. I'm telling you right now. I know Buffalo, they've had some great years. But I think they might have a little lull this year, and I think the team that can do it in that conference could be the Jets. Especially with Aaron Rodgers, if he just brings his experience to that team and they follow suit with it, they're going to be tough. I think the Jets can have a huge year this year.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I didn't like the line movement. I would have liked to see them go, and it sounds crazy. Some people look at it and they say, well, you're not making as much money, but that doesn't matter always sometimes. I would have liked to see them go to like plus 190, 180, and I actually would have jumped all over them. But the fact that the line went the other way kind of freaked me out a little bit.
It's going to be the Bills and Miami as far as I'm concerned in that division. In the end, like I said, sparing no injuries, the Bills win that division. They're going to go over the 10.5 wins as well, so I'd throw a couple bucks on that. I think the Bills just own that AFC. I mean, Patriots are nowhere. Mac Jones, who knows what's going to happen with him? Tua, he's if he has a good year, yeah, I could definitely see both the Jets and Miami doing well. In the end, are they going to beat the Bills? I personally don't think so.
Teddy, let me ask you, probably the most powerful conference in the AFC is probably the AFC North.
Right.
I mean, look at the teams in there. What's your thoughts on who's going to come out of that conference this year and stand out?
So, talking about line movement again, that Ravens line when Lamar Jackson made it official that he was staying with them, that Ravens line moved big. It moved from plus 325 average to plus 240 average. So that's a really good sign for them. Then he adds Odell Beckham. Then they draft Zay Flowers. So you got a lot of power on that offense. That offense is going to be impressive. It's going to be a tight race between them and the Bengals. The NFL writers, the big names around the league as far as writers and touts and predictors and people on ESPN and these different shows, they're all pushing the Ravens. Everybody's pushing the Ravens. Everyone's predicting the Ravens. I was looking at predictions the other day. Everyone's all over the Ravens. Yeah, it's good value there, but I was looking at the lines. Right now, you can get the Bengals to win that division on MGM at plus 150. I've always been a Joe Burrow fan. He's always in the mix every year since he's been in the league, besides when he was injured, obviously. For plus money, and I'm not going to go favorite on every division, so don't think I am. You'll see in a couple more divisions we talk about, I'm going to take some of the second and third choices, but on this one, I'm going with the favorite again, and I'm going against all the predictors and experts out there, and I'm going with the
one quick stat. I do agree with you there with the Bengals. I'm predicting a record 13-4, so I would take them also 11.5 wins. Bengals have never won 3 divisions in a row. So watch out
They
for
never had
that.
Joe Burrow 3 years in a row.
They didn't have Joe Burrow, but this would be their third. That would be this 3 in a row. I bet it at Caesars. You seem to be getting a little better numbers at me. Plus 135. You can get the Bengals. Burrow is no doubt a beast here. Lamar Jackson, I think he gives them a good run for their money. My money's on the Bengals as well.
All right, guys, so here's the million-dollar question. Who's getting rid of the big gorilla in the AFC this year? Is it going to be Kansas City, or is someone knocking them off to get to the Super Bowl? What's your opinion at this? Obviously, it's way early, but what's your opinion, Ted, on that?
Good question. So I was looking at that division, and my pick, and this goes from a betting standpoint. Everything being even, I would probably go with the Chiefs to win that division. But when you're looking at the betting standpoint, the Chiefs are like minus 160, 170 to win that division. There's not a lot of value there. Where there is value is this Justin Herbert and the Chargers. Okay, you have a Chargers team that was not able to stay healthy last year. They had the injury bug last year, and they still made it into the playoffs with a wild card seed. Right? They added depth to those positions where they had the injuries last year. So if they do suffer injuries again, they're going to have more depth there. But if they stay healthy, they have, in my opinion, a potential MVP quarterback in Herbert eventually. You can get them at plus 340 on Caesars, plus 330 on Bet Rivers. I like the Chargers to unseat the Chiefs, who have won that division 7 years in a row. I like the Chargers to actually unseat the Chiefs in that division. Now, that doesn't mean that the Chiefs still don't make the playoffs, which they would. I mean, if that happened, barring crazy injuries, they're still going to make the playoffs, and everything's going to be fine for them to get in, but they're not going to have that break. And listen, I don't know did you guys watch the Quarterbacks show on Netflix?
No, I didn't get a chance to see that one.
I recommend it. They follow Mahomes, they follow Kirk Cousins, and they follow Marcus Mariota. So they follow like a top tier guy, kind of a little bit of a above average, middle of the pack guy, and then a guy that's not even starting right now. But as far as unseating the Chiefs, it's tough to say. I think if I had to take a divisional a conference winner who's going to the Super Bowl this year from the AFC, I'm going with the Bengals.
Bengals. Tommy, anything on that?
Well,
what's
listen,
your pick for the?
Not to the Chiefs are no doubt the team to beat here. I mean,
Why though?
Well, why? Because they have, first of all, who's better than Andy Reid? All right, I mean, this is one of the best coaches ever that coached in NFL football.
Okay.
Who's better than Mahomes? All right. I mean, I just think they have the pretty much locked in to win that division. They're pegged at 10.5 wins. I would take over 10.5 wins for KC. I mean, let's face it. The only other team that could beat them, and I do agree with Teddy, is the Chargers. They're 340 plus 340 at Caesars right now. Broncos and Raiders. I mean, the Raiders are pretty much they're 3 years away from doing anything. Broncos plus 500. I don't see that happening. But in the end of the day, Mahomes gets the job done.
I totally disagree with you on that. I don't think San Diego's going to have I think they're going to have a so-so year. Justin Herbert coming into his 4th year as a starting quarterback. I mean, he throws, let's face it, he throws the numbers. He racks up the yards. He racks up the touchdowns. But the bottom line is they don't get there. Last year they blew, what was it, 27-0 lead to Jacksonville. Jacksonville comes back down 27-0 and beats them, which is almost impossible. So I just don't, San Diego's a decent team. They got a first-year head coach now, I think, coming in this year. Justin Herbert, it is. He's got some weapons. But I think the play this year in the AFC is going to be the Baltimore Ravens. I really do. Like you said, Teddy, Flowers added on with OBJ. And I think Lamar Jackson's coming out there with vengeance this year, vengeance. So I think...
And they always have a solid defense, too. I mean, I don't hate the play.
Got a great place kicker. Justin Tucker's the best in the...
You're going to get some value there. But don't, just because the Chargers lost to the Jags last year, the Jags aren't who we think they are as far as who we're used to them being. The Jags are going to be solid this year. My comeback player of the year, actually, prediction for this year is going to be Calvin Ridley, who had the gambling issues. He was betting on sports, and he kind of just disappeared, took off, suspended, whatever it was. He's coming back now, and that's going to be a huge weapon for Trevor Lawrence. And I like the Jags, maybe not to go to the Super Bowl, but I like them to exceed expectations. They're already the favorite to win the division. It's a weak division, though. I think that they're going to get deep into that AFC playoff race.
I say we move this to the NFC. What do you guys think? Let's try to keep it simple here as far as NFC. Who you feel are the top teams this year?
I put some time looking at the NFC East. I'm originally from New York. I think that the once again, the team that you have to beat there is the Eagles. You can get them at Caesars now, -110. I mean, Jalen Hurts. They just have a loaded roster this year. I'm predicting 14-3 season, so I would take over 11.5 wins. Once again, who do you got? You got the Giants. They're years away, in my opinion, of being a contender. The Commanders, not even worth discussing. Total mess, ownership change. That franchise is shot. I mean, the Cowboys. Yeah, if they play
your pick for the Super Bowl. Though?
Well, I did say that in an earlier show, but my money, I did bet the Eagles at Caesars -110. You could say they're going to have a Super Bowl hangover. Look what happened to the Rams after winning the Super Bowl. But not that they won, the Eagles. I think they bounce back this year, and I think that's the team to beat in the NFC.
Okay. What about NFC West? Anything there? You like anything there?
NFC West. Once again, I don't want to just chase favorites here, but the Niners, no doubt, is the contender. But the question is, who's going to be their quarterback? Right now with the Niners, is Brock Purdy going to be? Is going to be Trey Lawrence?
Sam Darnold, I think, is going to be the starter.
Have they announced officially who's going to be the starter?
It's going to be Darnold, most likely.
And then Purdy.
They're looking to move Lance, but the thing is, obviously, Purdy has the elbow surgery.
He's on the
when he's healthy, he's their starter.
Yeah.
No questions asked. But as far as the West goes, let me tell you something about the West. Once again, line movement. Guys, you got to look at line movement. It's very important. You got Seattle, who jumped after the draft from +400 to +250. Now, on some sites, they're +200.
Caesars +210.
Yeah. So that's a 200-point movement. You got to look at that. You got to look at the fact that you have 4 things, okay, that make me like Seattle to win this NFC West division. You got Pete Carroll, very good coach. You got Geno Smith. If he plays like he played last year, he went from a lifetime backup to an unbelievable starting quarterback.
He got the money, too.
And he got the money. So you have Pete Carroll. You have Geno Smith. Number 3, you have the line movement. And number 4, reason to bet them to win that division is value. They're +200, right? +210. You can get them on Bet Rivers at +240. So all of those things combined, the fact that there's this kind of lingering question of, is Brock Purdy going to be healthy? When is he going to be healthy? Coming back from an injury, you never know what's going to happen with a quarterback. He's a young. It's not like it's Tom Brady coming back from an injury. It's from this Mr. Irrelevant, as they call him, Brock Purdy, coming back from that injury. And what's going to happen here?
Well, their defense is awesome as well. I mean, they got an amazing defense, San Francisco. So, that defense can carry the team as well.
Defense can do a lot, absolutely.
Cause turnovers, you get the ball back, you have more chances to score on offense.
And Seattle added a top receiver and top cornerback in that draft. They had a great draft, so.
I mean, a bet that I made at Caesars, Niners over 10.5 wins. I see them win at least 12, 13 games this season. So I think that's pretty locked in. And like you said, -175. Seahawks could do it. You are getting 2-1 on your money.
Yeah, to me, there's no value in taking a team that has all that issue at quarterback. Yeah, they have the defense, but boy, that line movement on Seattle, it looks good. It looks tasty.
Guys, I want to get into something. I know Teddy's a big fan of this. I actually am a big fan of it, probably as well as Tommy, is parlays. betting parlays, whether the sport, NFL or college football or whatever the sport is, trying to get the point out to players out there. And I know, Ted, you had a point you wanted to bring out about the parlays.
Well, I'm not a big fan of it. That's the whole thing. Doing what we do, we speak to players every day, whether it be through messaging, whether it be on the phone, whether it be through email. And doing this for so long, for almost 2 decades now, what you have is you have a shift. 15 years ago, parlays, people didn't really do them. Some people did them, but most people, when they were betting a game, the average sports bettor would bet $100 on the Jets minus 110, or $100 on the Jets plus 3.5 minus 110, or $100 on the Diamondbacks minus 140 on the money line, or plus 120 on the money line, and that was it. Nowadays, because of technology, because of marketing, in my opinion, a lot of it has to do with the marketing behind these new legal sports books. You have everybody playing these parlays, and I think it's a recipe for disaster. You're not gonna win. You're not gonna make money. It's like playing the lotto. My grandfather, from the time I was a little kid till the time he passed away, that man played the lotto every day.
Numbers probably, not the lotto.
Well, after the lot, probably numbers before I was born, and then the lotto, right? So, guy played the lotto every day. He died with the same amount of money he had when he started playing the lotto. You don't make money playing the lotto unless you're one of those people that hit the million or hit the 2 million and get lucky. And there are those people out there. And parlays are the same thing. Is it really fun? Is it fun to, if you pick 4 games and you win 3, to lose? Is that fun? Shouldn't you make money if you pick 3 out of 4, right? So that's number one. I think a lot of it has to do with the marketing. They're marketing parlays on the games while you're watching them. The commercials are marketing parlays. A lot of people in our industry, on social media, on Instagram, on TikTok, they're marketing parlays also. And they're fabricating how much of these parlays that they win, and it makes the average bettor think that they can win parlays like that also. And it's all a facade, guys. So if you take one thing from this, I'm very passionate about this, if you can't tell. I despise these parlays. Now listen, if you have 2 or 3 good favorites and you want to put them in a 2 or 3 team parlay, that's okay sometimes, especially in baseball. In baseball, if you have 2 minus 200 teams and you want to put them into a parlay, that's a different story. But, trying to turn $10 into 200 or turn $50 into 4,000, it's not the way to go. Now, if you have a $3,000 betting bankroll and you're betting single games for $100, $200, and then you want to throw 5 or 10 on a parlay also as like a side thing, that's fine. But if you have $500 to bet with and you're strictly betting $25, $50 parlays, that 500 is going to disappear soon. You're going to have a bad taste in your mouth about sports betting. You're going to think it's impossible to win with sports betting, and you're most likely going to quit. I think that this parlay thing, it's not a good long-term strategy for the sports books either, because you're going to have these people that just don't get any taste of winning because they're constantly betting parlays, whereas if they were betting single games, they'd be winning every week, and they keep them around longer.
Yeah, but don't forget the younger player just coming into the game, like you said, off the TikToks or the Instagrams. They're small players. They're just out to have fun. So they're looking for the odds. They don't realize it, but they're out there looking. They'd rather play 4 or 5 teams and get 20 to 1, 30 to 1, put $5 at risk to try to win $100. We're a little more sophisticated than that, obviously, because we're doing it for a living, and we realize it's like you said, it's an impossible dream to consistently win 4 or 5 games, on a bet with a 4 or 5 team parlay. So obviously, the best way of doing this, guys, is playing quality over quantity, playing less games, and really just trying to be consistent and build up the bankroll that way. But I can understand the logic of younger players wanting to do that, just getting in the game, because they're in it they're not really in it like we are.
They're all looking for the big hit, but I have to blame the sports books, and Teddy's right. They're promoting basically dreams to people. You know what the odds of winning a 6 or 7 team parlay is? It's like 2%. It really is. So if you think about it, first of all, professional sharp guys who I do follow do not bet parlays. All right, we come from a time where parlays were not popular. In the end, you're going to lose all your money betting parlays. But I think it's just in general the way society is. Everyone's looking for the big hit today.
Yeah.
No matter how, it's just the new generation.
It is. It's a societal thing, plus the marketing with the sports books.
It is.
Like
I mean, everyone, not to make it seem like we come from a different world, but people don't want to say, I'll build a bankroll every week. By week 8, I'll have X amount. People are looking for that $5,000 payout the first week of football.
And Tommy, you hit on something. The big hit. It's almost like a laziness. You don't want to grind out those games, but here's something else. You said something about the probability. So let's just take a 2-team parlay minus 110 odds, right? Your probability of winning that parlay is 25%. But the sports book only pays you 2.5 to 1. Now, let's say the sports book paid on a 2-team parlay, which you have a 25% chance of hitting. Let's say the sports book paid 4 to 1, which would be the correct payout. Then we might talk about, hey, there's some value here in playing this, but the implied odds are always going to be lower than what they pay out, and that's the real trap right there.
It's called true odds. That's where they make their money. I mean, the books are in to make a profit. That's their biggest profit margin, parlays. But I think in the end, you got to be disciplined. You got to look at this. This is not a sprint. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. But new people today, they live in an age where they just see everything boom right in front of you. They want the big hit. I don't blame them, but they're just going to give all their money away in the end. That's just the way. Don't bet parlays. Bet straight bets. Keep your bets consistent. Look to pick up some net winners every weekend. You'll make some money at this.
It's about grinding it out at the end of the day.
Exactly.
You got to be in it to win it, guys, and you got to be in it for the long run. The short run, it could get you.
Scott, before the show started, we were talking a little baseball, and you brought up Shohei. If anyone watches me, I've been on this guy for 4 years now. I give him out all the time in my free picks. I love the guy. I'm a huge fan. Love watching him. So Scott brought up what's happening with him. So what have you heard, Scotty? What's going on? Where's he going?
Look what this guy is doing. I mean, it's amazing. He's number one in every category. Extra base hits. He hit his 7th triple of the season last night against the Yankees. He's got 35 home runs. He's on pace for over 60 home runs. He's a starting pitcher. This guy is the modern Babe Ruth in baseball, no doubt about it. I have never seen an athlete like this, where you have a guy that can pitch like that, hit like that. He's just on levels ahead of everyone else.
So is he going to do what Babe Ruth did and go to the Yankees?
Well, you saw did you see the bobbleheads? They had the big bobbleheads at the game last night in Anaheim with him and the Yankees.
Yeah. That's what people. I mean, the Yankees, in my opinion, they take this thing if they get him.
Who could write the big check is what it's going to come down to.
Oh, there's some teams that can write the big check for a guy like this.
Yankees has plenty of money. He's probably going to go to a major market. If you think about it, I hate to say it, but it is all going to come down to one thing: who's going to pay him the most?
He is going. This is the one prediction I think that you could take home is he's going to be the highest when it's all said and done. At the end of this year, he's going to be the highest paid player in baseball.
1,000%.
Crazy.
Yeah, I've never seen a player like that all around in baseball. Since I'm around. I mean, have you seen anyone like this? A guy that can throw like that, a guy that can hit like that, power. He's got everything.
If he keeps it healthy and he doesn't burn himself and wear himself out, it's going to be really interesting and impressive to see.
$200 million bucks.
No, much
more than that.
That's going to be
I think he's going to get a half a billion dollar contract. You're looking at $60-70 million a year.
Yeah,
$60 million a year.
This guy's the real deal.
I'd like to be his agent. 5%.
That's not a bad deal, is it, Tommy? I'll tell you. But what do you guys think of what's going on? This is I know it's only been a week or so, but we kind of had some plays. We like the Marlins. They haven't won a game yet since.
Haven't won a game.
0-5 so far. And
it's funny. A couple things I was talking about on the last show really turned south. I'm not afraid to admit it. So Yuri Perez, this pitcher on the Marlins that I made a lot of money on this year, betting Marlins first 5 innings, sometimes first 5 innings minus a half a run to get the better odds. Every time he was pitching, I was betting them, and I think think I made about 35,000 just betting, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 a game on him, and doing it where I think he was 6-1 or 7-1 in the first 5 innings, right? So for reasons of load management because he's on a pitch count, so they have to take him out. They sent him back to the minors. So there goes my golden goose there. Sandy's not getting it together. So, yeah, the Marlins, I don't know what's going on with them. But and another thing I was talking about last time I was on the show was how they sent Alek Manoah back down to the minors. He's back in the major. He's pitching. He pitched last night. I looked at it. I said, you know what? Manoah's pitching. I'm going against him. I went with the Padres. The Padres won 9-1. So that was nice. But, yeah, I mean, going back, I'm still on the Rangers. I believe they picked up the win last night.
They did.
I had them last night, 5-3.
So did I. So that's kind of the team that I think that's out of the predictions I made personally last time I was on the show. I think that's the team that's going to come out here.
Well, Tampa, it's funny. Tampa started like a house of fire, and they've been fading lately. I mean, they're playing Texas right now. Is playing great baseball. They won 5 straight games in a row. But Tampa's been fading. They're blowing that lead in that division.
Baseball's a long season, 160 games. I mean, it's tough to be consistent throughout 160 games. So, yeah, I mean, I still say the Braves is the team to bet. Mets and Yankees, I don't know what's going to happen with them. I don't even know if they'll make the playoffs at this point.
No. Yankees, they might fire Boone the way it's going right now. I don't know what's going on with the Yankees.
That's why they need Ohtani. That's a little wake me up.
When Judge is still no date for Judge to return either.
No.
He's got that bad toe. So let me ask you, before we end this great show, anything you want to talk about, Ted, or obviously let the people know where they can find you?
Yeah, I got to say one more thing about baseball. One team that I did not mention who have been like a rocket ship out of the West, out of the NL West, is the Giants. They have got it together.
Unbelievable.
I've been riding them the last few games. They've been really good. But yeah, you can go to the _profits_pick. You can go to YouTube if you want to see mine and my guy Billy the Beard. We do our breakdowns on YouTube. You can go to youtube.com/@thesportsprofits. We've actually gotten our own. When you do YouTube, at first they give you this long code, and then I guess when they like you enough, that you can just do and then your name. So that's kind of cool. So @thesportsprofits on YouTube, and thesportsprofits.com if you want to look into getting a package.
All right, Big Kahuna. How do the people find you?
Not hard to find me, but my site is onlinesportsbet.com. We have multiple articles up daily. I have 10 videos daily on YouTube, OSB-Sports. In football, I'm going to have 15 videos up. So I'm putting a lot of free information up. Go check me out at either onlinesportsbet.com or on YouTube, OSB-Sports.
Anything you want to add? Other than that?
Well, we got to get through the next couple of weeks here. I mean, I call it the dog days of summer. There is a lot of opportunity in baseball. I mean, I had Mexico in the Gold Cup against Panama. So I'm looking for some spots right now. But once August hits, we're pretty much going to be NFL, college football. And I'm looking forward to just a bang-out season.
I'm jacked up myself. We're about 7 weeks away from the start of the football season. There's going to be a lot of excitement going on. Baseball is obviously heating up. We're getting down to the last 70 games or so of the season there. And obviously, I'm Scott Matthews. You could check me out and follow me on TikTok at SMPicks, Picks. And you can also check me out on Instagram at SMSports. Picks, Picks. Well, guys, it was a great show.
Yeah.
Love having you on the show, Ted.
Been a pleasure once again, guys.
Tommy, obviously,
I'm
always good
here.
to be with you.
I'm a fixture.
Guys, listen carefully. Follow our show. We're out there every week. All you have to do is check out the podcast forums, and you can check it out, the OSB Sports Podcast. We are going to give you the best insights, the best advice when it comes to making sharp plays this year. We're going to be starting to release games over the next couple episodes. We're going to be back next week. We got a special guest coming on the show talking about that huge UFC event between Justin Gagey and Dustin Poirier, number 2, for the BMF title. You know what that means? The baddest, I don't even want to say it, guys. The BMF title goes next week, and we're going to have a special guest breaking down that fight. Have a great day, and we'll see you back here next week.